Well, hello! Welcome back to my channel. Joshana here to talk about a friggin' book. So I previously recorded and edited... Lily, stop! Why are you finding every fucking thing to be loud with right now? Okay, back to books. I recently filmed and edited a full frickin' recent wrap-up where I talked about 3 books, and 2 of them are self-published books that I have recently read, and well, one isn't published yet. I was beta reading. But at any rate, I talked for way too long about both of those books, and I had 17 or 18 minutes of footage that I edited it down to 18 minutes. But then watching it back, I just wasn't fully satisfied with how I spoke about the books. So I'm just refilming them as individual book reviews. So the book that I'm talking about today is Pushing 30 by my friend Nicole. And I say friend, we're like internet friends. I discovered her, I think via Twitter a few years back, maybe. I don't even know how, actually. And then we follow each other on Instagram and we follow each other on Twitter. And she is an author and she's also a librarian, or she works in a library anyways. I know you're not necessarily a librarian just because you work in a library. At any rate, she works in a library. Oh my God, can you hear all this noise? My neighbors are standing right outside talking to each other and their dogs are like barking at each other. I'm freaking busy. Like, what? This is chaos. I have my cat over here. At least she is mostly quiet, do I know? So Pushing 30 is an adult contemporary romance, and you all know that is not typically my jam. I was honestly a little hesitant about reading it. I bought it, I wanted to support her, of course, but I was like, God, I hope I like it, because just it being adult contemporary romance could make me be like, not love it, you know what I mean? And of course, I don't want to talk about a friend's book if I didn't end up liking it, but I want to be honest. So I ended up really enjoying this. In this book, it's multiple point of views, it's 3 women, and Nicole herself is a Black woman, a younger, pushing 30 Black woman, and the women in this book are all pushing 30 Black women, and it's just kind of about their individual lives. They are 3 best friends, and yeah, it's about their individual stories and journeys, and there's romance involved. For realistic, Lily, get out of here! She just rammed into my tripod. I feel like in any genre, there can always be more representation for diversity of all kinds. And in the adult contemporary romance, I don't read a ton of it. I have seen a few books come out recently that are more diverse in that realm, but of course, again, more is always good. The key thing that I really enjoyed about this story is that, like I said, we're following our 3 main characters, Terry, Camille, and Zahira, and they are best friends, and the story is about their individual lives. They do come together and their friendship is a part of it, but like they have a healthy friendship. It's a healthy female friendship, and I really appreciated that and really enjoyed seeing that, because I think a lot of times in books and in contemporaries that I've read anyways, they can take the women and just pit them against each other, make them catty, etc. And these women were not that. They were friends. They had a good friendship. Another thing, and this is kind of what I didn't talk about as well as I wanted to, and I don't even know if I will now, because it's just a weird thing. I'm white, in case you haven't noticed. And like I said, this is Own Voices, written by a Black woman, and it's about 3 Black women, and it's their experience. You know, this book, this representation isn't for me, you know? Even though it's not for me, while I was reading it, you know, I like to think I'm not a totally ignorant person, and AAVE, African American Vernacular English, there is such this dumb stereotype around it. It's a stereotype, and it's not a good one. It's a negative stereotype of people who use AAVE, who speak AAVE. The very negative hood, thug, ghetto, which are all annoying stereotypes in and of themselves. I often see in books, the times I have seen AAVE used, you see it being used in a negative way with those stereotypical ghetto, thug, whatever characters. And it's annoying because that's not realistic. And I talked to Nicole about this, like, am I saying what I'm meaning to, like, I don't want to be offensive or sound like the dumb little white girl thinking she knows what she's talking about. And Nicole said, she's like, you know, it's just how my friends and I talk. And so that's what I wrote. And that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, it's realistic that people from all walks of life will and can speak AAVE. And it's just your environment, the area you grew up in, the people you grew up around. And for most Black people in America anyways, I don't know about anywhere else, but the whole code switching thing. And there is code switching for sure in this book. Two of our main characters, Camille and Zahira, are professionals. They are out in the working world and successful. Zahira is like an internet famous YouTuber, podcast, gamer, you know, all that stuff. And then Camille is like a businesswoman in corporate America. And Camille especially, you see her code switching when she's at work, speaking more white, you know, and then when she's with her friends, she's speaking more casually and she's speaking how they speak to each other. And it just was done very well. And that's the thing with Own Voices, it's not even something Nicole had to, I gotta make sure I do. She just wrote her experience with her and her friends. And it's obvious that it's very natural and very authentic. And I think that there needs to be a lot more of that. Reading To Hate You Give and Dear Martin, I saw that. But I have seen people comment, not on this book, and not a lot, but I just have seen comments about AAV being used and people thinking that it's like a bad thing or that it like brings down the literary quality or some shit. And it's just so dumb because all that does is perpetuate the stereotype that only certain types of people speak AAVE. That's not true. And just their experiences in general were very complex, very realistic, and sometimes messy. Like I said, they had a very healthy friendship, but if they're calling each other out on things here and there and whatever. Their relationships, each individual one has its own nuances, and one character is dealing with a lot of her own baggage and is with a delightful man. Oh my God, this one, I'm not gonna say who because I don't wanna like spoil stuff, but one of the main characters, like love interest, he is just a gem. And Camille and Zahira were definitely my favorites. The only thing that really kind of brought it down for me as far as like enjoyment level, I do rate my books largely, not largely, but enjoyment level is a thing when I'm rating my books. So again, going back to the whole adult contemporary romance thing, that in and of itself, I do tend to rate those just in general a little lower than I would a fantasy because enjoyment level. I don't enjoy contemporary as much as I enjoy fantasy and things like that. But the biggest thing for me is that I did not like Terry. I didn't like Terry as a character, and I didn't really care for her whole story. Her husband, she's married and has children, and right from the get-go, and it's just a personal preference. This is totally just all personal preference and opinion. She was written just fine. She was very complex as well. Her whole plot line, there was a lot going into it, a lot of nuances, and touching on like postpartum depression, which was really good. Good to see, and done, I think, very like authentically, realistically. It wasn't some, I don't know, it wasn't some big dramatic overdone thing. It was just, you could see right from the get-go with this character. She had 2 children and then was just having another one. Like at the very beginning of the book, she's having her 3rd child. And she's talking. I literally had to stop a couple times and count the names. Like, wait, I counted 2 names and then this new one, right? Because she was talking as if she had a horde of children. And I was like, what the frick is this chick? Like, why is she acting like she's got all these kids? Like, yeah, 3 kids is still 3 kids. But she literally, the way she was talking about it was like very exaggerated with like how much chaos was, her household was pure chaos. All these kids hanging off of me and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, girl, you have 2. You've had 2 this whole time, and now you have 1 more. Again, 3 children is 3 children, and I know children are, even 1 child is a lot. I know this. I don't have any of my own, but I have friends, many friends, best friends that have kids. I know it's a lot. But if you read the book, you'll see, like, it's just very exaggerated. But then you get to see that, like, there's a reason for it. She is kind of resentful of her children. She's feeling all these feelings. She's going through it And like I said, postpartum depression is touched on. It was mostly her relationship with her husband. He just was an ass. He was a dick. I didn't like him. I just didn't like anything he did. I didn't like how he handled anything. He just irked me. He wasn't written poorly or anything like that. He was also complex. He had things going on and ups and downs and whatever. I just didn't like him. I definitely recommend this book. If you like adult contemporary romance, if you hate it, you probably won't like it, but if you at all enjoy adult contemporary romance, I would definitely vote for checking it out. It's a really good book. It is, own voices and diverse, but without all that, it's just a good book. It's just good storytelling. And on my 1 to 10 scale, I gave it a 6.6, and that translates to 3.5 pushy unicorns. Okay, much more concise than I was the first time talking about it. I'm gonna link down below all of Nicole's info, like her website, her socials, and all of that. She's also just hilarious, like on Twitter. You should just go follow her Twitter immediately. She's working on a couple of other projects. She does have also a YA trilogy. I own all 3 books. I read the first one years ago when she had the original cover, and then I fucking didn't buy the second and third books forever, and so I need to reread the first one and then like refresh my memory to read the rest of it. I remember it being kind of like a suspense, almost thriller, but not like a mystery, not necessarily thriller, but like suspense, mystery, YA. I really enjoyed the first book. I just can't remember everything because it was so long ago and I suck at life. All right, that is all for now, guys. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.